A manhunt is underway for the driver who struck a 12-year-old boy in Brisbane South. The shocking security video shows the moment an unregistered Commodore sped through a red light, knocking the boy from his bike.
The driver and his passenger can then be seen getting out and fleeing. They left the child on the road. He suffered head injuries and multiple fractures. Just awful. Former detective and turned criminologist Terry Goldsworthy joins us now from the Gold Coast. Terry, good morning to you. This is horrific.
Yeah, it is, Carl. It's certainly not the kind of images you want to see, and it's concerning that we have young children out in the streets who aren't safe, and people are prepared to run red lights and cause this kind of mayhem.
What's behind this, do you reckon?
Well, reports are that the police were doing registration checks, and what's happened is that they've detected the vehicle, they've moved out. What's happened after there is unclear at this stage, but it looks like there may be an attempt to intercept, or the offender has become aware of the police vehicle and then run a red light and collided with the child on the bike. So it wasn't, from the information available, it wasn't a pursuit, so to say, but I guess ethical standards will be investigating to see exactly what circumstances were surrounding it.
I mean, just that CCTV vision gets a pretty good picture of both of those offenders. Let's hope that they're caught quickly. They look young as well. Anyway, things like tougher bail laws, GPS trackers, are they doing enough to deter young repeat offenders?
Look, Carl, we've got a real crime problem in Queensland. If you look at crime overall, we've had a 7% increase in the last 12 months. If you look at stolen vehicles in particular, Queensland accounts for 27% of stolen vehicles nationally. We are the capital of stolen vehicles, so law and order is a real issue up here. If you look at those electronic tracking devices for juveniles that were rolled out last year, if you read the report, you can see that there's $11 million in funding been put aside for them, 12 full-time staff, and in the 9-month period that they ran the trial, they issued 3. Only 3 in the entire state.
Wow.
So it really is a mockery of those resources.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I imagine that funding is a big part of it, but this goes to a broader issue, doesn't it, of what on earth's happening with these young kids, that they're turning to crime and violent crime.
Yeah, it is. I mean, if you look at the stats, youth offenders account for about 16% of all offenders. When you get to things like drug offences, break and enter, unlawful use of motor vehicles, stolen vehicles, they go up to about 50 or 50% plus of offenders. So what we're seeing is that they're overrepresented in more serious crime, and that came out in a report where there were more people on bail, youth offenders on bail, committing more offences and more serious offences. So these things are multifactorial. I fully support punitive outcomes for those kids who are in an offending cycle and need to be stopped, because we need to protect the community. That is a paramount priority. But, you know, behind that are multifactorial causations. So I'm talking there about dysfunctional homes where there's drug use, lack of parenting, DV. We're talking about the children themselves using drugs. They're not engaged with educational institutions. They have no skill set with which to go out and get employment opportunities. So you can have the punitive outcomes on one side, and I fully support them. But on the other side, you know, you need to put the funding in. It's not cheap to do these things. You need to put the funding into addressing the multifactorial causations.
All right, that's not going to ease this poor 12-year-old's parents' burden this morning. What happened to him and then them fleeing? Those cowards. It's awful.
Who does that? Leaves a little kid on the road.
Yeah. Terry, thank you.